we have one more speaker for us, though, right here from Norway, which may not surprise you, but was a great surprise to me, is not a great leader in the recycling field. In fact, Norway is a laggard in recycling. And our next speaker is going to tell us why. This is State Secretary from the Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Maria Varteressian. How do you move from talk to action? How can Norway lead an example on this? It shouldn't be a laggard.
Thank you, Nisha. That's a very important question. Hello, everyone. Wonderful to be here. It's great to have this opportunity to speak about circular economy. And have you ever wondered what circular economy really means? Well, I certainly have. We have heard some ideas in the keynotes before me. Well, I have asked myself a question, well, what is it really? Is it a buzzword from the 1990s, early 90s? Is it a wishful thinking from environmental NGOs? Is it about industrial opportunities based on increased recycling? Is it a pathway towards decoupling a growth in emission from economic growth? Or is it a pathway to just transition? Well, I think the answer is probably a mix of all of those, in addition to many, many other ways to explain what circular economy is. But I think the best way, perhaps, is to sum it up by saying that it's all about a paradigm shift, where we go from linear economies to eternal cycles. And the whole reason to that, if we think about politics, well, it's really when the global population is growing, we need to ensure that they have enough resources to have what they need in their lives, at the same time as we reduce the amount of resources needed to support that. This all sounds good now, doesn't it? But so how are we really doing? If we look at the numbers, let's do that. On a global level, we can see that only 7.2% of the economy is circular. And I'm sure you've probably heard about a World Overshoot Day. That is the day where we reach the planet's resources limitation, and we really start using and borrowing from years to come and from generations to come. And each year, and also this varies among different nations, this day comes earlier. And as Nisha already said, we have to be honest, when it comes to Norway, the World Overshoot Day comes earlier to us than to many other countries. And why is that? Well, despite the fact that we have a lot of opportunities to be really a leader, a pioneer within circularity, we're really lagging behind, with only 2.4% of the Norwegian economy being circular. So we are all in this together, and collectively, friends, we are using resources as if we had several planets, while we only have one. So let's look at what got us here, reflect a little bit around that. Well, there is now a trend, global trend of increased focus on circularity, and that is good. But the main driver behind that is an increasing realization of how modern economies have developed. And in a nutshell, we can summarize it by saying that, well, for a very, very long time, until quite recently, emitting CO2 into the atmosphere hasn't really had a cost. It was free to do. And using resources, nature, ecosystem services has been thought of as something abundant, as something we can just continue doing, and it has been taken for granted, I would say. And the third, we see that the value chains, all of the supply chains, well, they have had a lot of chemicals which have been harming nature, harming human life as part of many of those value chains. And those chemicals have leaked into nature, and that has affected the life on the planet. So to borrow the words of the head of United Nations Development Program, Ms. Inger Andersen, we're living currently in a triple planetary crisis with climate crisis, nature crisis, and pollution crisis. And in order to solve those crises, we really need to transform everything, transform our economies radically. So it's all about really making circularity a reality. Now, how do we do that? We have heard some brilliant thoughts on this previously today, but to sum it up, it's really about the toolboxes we make and what we fill those toolboxes with. It's about research and innovation. It's about taxes and fees. It's about how we use public procurement, how we use digitalization, how we rig different competitions. Really, it's all about that. And most importantly, it's important to stop thinking and working in silos, because this is a transformational change. We need to think across different sectors, across all silos, and leading research institutions and universities such as SINTEF and NTNU, they have a key role to play in this. If we look at what is the government's responsibility in all of this, well, we, from the political side, need to make sure that the policies we create are promoting and incentivizing increased recycling, reducing waste, making sure that materials are kept longer in the value chains, and that we also reduce the use of chemicals in those value chains so we don't recycle chemicals. From the business perspective, and we've heard some brilliant examples of that already, not least in the Mercedes-Benz presentation, we need to use innovation, use partnerships and competition in order to gear up and speed up new green circular business models. From academia, it's important to make sure that key competence is constantly being developed and being applied. Not least, politicians need to listen to the researchers. And also that academia is educating the workforce of tomorrow, which will make sure that sustainable economy is actually put into use. So it's all about cross-cutting solutions, taking down the low-hanging fruits, which many of us have thought about and tried to think, well, how can we do it? Perhaps plastic pollution, ending that is a low-hanging fruit. Another one could be increased recycling of rare earth materials, minerals, which we will need for the green transition. And not least, we need to cooperate internationally. And that's why I'm here as State Secretary from Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Because, well, it's very much international collaboration, international politics. We will not succeed if we don't cooperate across borders. We will not succeed if we don't look at the signals and work together with markets such as the European and the Nordic. And also, we will not succeed if we don't play along with the multilateral projects like UNEA and the work towards ensuring that we get a legally binding agreement to end plastic pollution. So, friends, despite the geopolitics, and we're living in quite geopolitically turbulent times, we see that there is an increased willingness to cooperate within the sphere of environmental diplomacy. If it's about COP28 in Dubai, if it's about Nature COP Montreal, or UNEA, as mentioned, or the BB&J for oceans, it's a trend, it's a timely one. But let me say this, that all of our ambitions, all of our efforts internationally are worth quite little or nothing if we don't follow up domestically. That's the most important thing we do. And friends, the bad news with all of this, it will take time, it will cost a lot, and time is something we don't have. We only have 5 years until we start reaching tipping points, which are irreversible. This all sounds like a plot to a Mission Impossible movie. It is not. The good news is that it is possible. And all of us sitting here, and me standing here, and the previous speakers, we all have a role to play in making sure we succeed with building a circular future. And from the government's side, I can reassure you that we're doing everything we can to speed up. And later this week, there will be some very relevant news presented by the Minister of Climate and Environment of the Norwegian government. So friends, stay tuned for that, and thank you for your attention.